Every few months, another headline appears. A new virus, a new outbreak, another health warning. And whether people want to admit it or not, a lot of us are wondering the same thing. Could another pandemic happen again? Now, before we start, let me say this clearly. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. This video is simply based on things me and my family personally do to try to stay healthy, build our immune system, and keep our bodies in the best condition possible. Because at the end of the day, your health is your first survival tool. Peace, I'm the Modest Prepper, where we make your halal pantry easy. Now, one thing over the last few years, it taught many people this. A lot of us, we wait until something goes wrong before we start caring about our health. We wait until the diagnosis, the high blood pressure, diabetes, exhaustion, or some other major health scare. And then once that happens, then we finally decide to change. But the real health preparation starts before the emergency. So the first thing we need to do is look at what we're eating. The first thing we have to ask ourselves is, what are we actually putting into our bodies every single day? A lot of us are exhausted. We're working multiple jobs, taking care of families. So because we're so busy and we got our children and everything, we're settling for fast food, DoorDash, processed snacks, sugary drinks, and quick meals just to fill our stomachs. But over time, those habits could catch up with us. And I remember when I was little, I would have other people that were older than me saying, be careful what you eat because when you get my age, it'll catch up with you. And I'm starting to realize that now, that what you eat over time does eventually catch up with you. And the scary part is many people don't realize how unhealthy their lifestyle is until their body starts breaking down. And that's why one of the biggest things we started doing was becoming more conscious about what we eat, how often we eat, and how our body feels after eating certain foods. Because we have to know our bodies, and prevention is always easier than trying to reverse damage later. So next thing, don't wait for a diagnosis. Too many people wait until their leg is falling off or they have unbearable pain before they finally go to the doctor because of the fear. And I understand the fear 100%, but we have to tackle that fear now. That is the only way we're going to know what's going on with our bodies and how we can work to correct it before it gets worse. But we have to know, don't wait until things get bad. Like, your body gives warning signs long before that. Whether you suffer from low energy, brain fog, fatigue, inflammation, weight gain, those things matter. And if we say we want to survive through everything that's going on and we say we want to stay healthy, we can't ignore our bodies until it's too late. So let's get into the importance of vitamins and minerals. I talk a lot about that on this channel because we have to pay attention to that. A lot of the foods that we eat don't contain the same nutritional value that they once had decades ago. And if you look at history, back in the 1930s is when the crop yield started to get worse and we had to supplement things. And that's why you have GMO processed foods, because we're struggling to try to have food last longer and trying to produce enough food. The soil has changed. Food processing has changed, and many foods are heavily modified or stripped during the production. So even if you think, I'm eating okay, I have a balanced diet, your body may still be lacking important nutrients. And another thing we have to be careful of is when we're eating our vegetables. Even if we're cooking it, do not kill the vitamins out of there by cooking the vegetables to the point where it's soggy. Then you're just eating mush and not eating the nutrients because you didn't kill it all in the process. So with vegetables, if we're going to eat it, like broccoli, string beans, carrots, make sure you just steam them. So make sure it still has some color. So that way you can still get the nutrients off of it. So even if you think you're eating okay, your body may still be lacking important nutrients. And that's why it's important to go to the doctor yearly, check your vitamin levels, your mineral levels, and understand what your body is lacking and has too much of, just what your body actually needs. because your immune system depends on your body having the nutrients it needs to function properly. So the next thing we're going to get into is daily immune support. Now, one thing my family does personally is we focus on things that support the immune system naturally every day. We don't always get it perfect, but we're trying to make sure we're intentional about it. For example, in my home, I try to make homemade wellness shots. It's something that my grandmother used to do growing up. I used to hate it back then because I thought it was disgusting, but it worked. And some of that homemade wellness shots, it includes things like ginger, cayenne, lemon, turmeric, garlic, onions. And we take a small swig of it during the winter months to make sure that we're still building up our immune system. Now, I'm not saying this is a cure-all for anything. This is simply something our family personally tries to do to stay healthy and consistent with immune support. But the point is, we should be doing something regularly to support our health instead of waiting until we get sick. If we're older, if we're in those 30s and 40s, we might need to start taking those, multivitamins to make sure we have everything we need. But before you determine what you need, like I said, go to the doctor and make sure you check your levels so you know what your body is lacking and what you may need. So continuing to the next section, exercise. And honestly, this is where many people struggle. But if we say we want to survive and stay healthy, we cannot let our bodies become weak from lack of movement. Some of us think that minimal movement is enough. But, like my doctor told me, the average person should be getting at least 20 to 30 minutes of exercise per day. And if we're, not working out, if we find ourselves to be overweight, and I know obesity is something that we struggle with in America a lot. I saw a person that was from France, and, they thought they wasn't laughing, and they didn't think obesity was comical. But they say, in America, you all eat all the time, and your food is horrible. Like, why do you all struggle with that? And, I was overhearing a conversation. The person really didn't have a response. And they said, well, it's simple. Just stop eating. Stop eating so much and eat better. And, it's simple. To them, it was simple, but we do struggle with that. So we definitely have to stay on top of what we eat and exercise. And because exercise, it helps circulation, heart health, stress levels, sleep quality, and immune support. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, but walking, stretching, lifting weights, cardio, or even simple movement matters. Your body and our body was designed to move. And I know it's a struggle. I struggle. A lot of people struggle with going to the gym and being consistent in the exercise. But the truth is, there's no magic wand to try to figure out how to do it. Just do it. We have to have the desire and will. Everything starts with a desire and will. And we have to be honest with ourselves. If we will go to school or work hard for a promotion or work hard to get material things or work hard to get things that really doesn't have any long-term value, then why won't we work hard for our bodies? Why won't we work hard for this very life that was given to us that we should not take for granted? We have to have a strong desire to want to live past 40 and 50 and 60. It doesn't happen magically. We have to understand that we have to take this seriously. We only got one life to live. So getting off my soapbox, the next thing I want to get into is the sun and vitamin D. And this is another thing that a lot of people overlook. Vitamin D and sunlight, it plays a huge role in the body. And that was a big conversation in 2020 that a lot of people suffer from vitamin D. But, many of us, we spend all day indoors under artificial lights. We stare at screens, barely getting outside. Getting sunlight, getting that fresh air and spending time outside, it matters more than people realize. I know for me, when it's nice, sunny weather, something about it just puts me in a good mood. I love walking around in it. I love basking in the sunshine, talking to people. The sunlight is really a mood booster. And sometimes the small daily habits are things that strengthen us most over time. So as we end, nobody knows what the future holds. But one thing is certain. Your health matters. And whether another pandemic happens or not, this is still the only body that we get. So instead of living in fear and just surviving, we have to start living. So focus on strengthening our bodies, improving your habits, staying active, eating better. Managing stress is a big point. And taking our health seriously now. Because healthy isn't just about looking good. It's about being prepared for life. So if this video made you think differently about your health, please like, subscribe, and share for more content. And also comment below, what's one healthy habit you're trying to improve right now? We can all help each other. So as I leave you, as always, this is a Modest Prepper reminding you to take care, be grateful, and prep with intention.